Section 3.4, multiplying decimals. We multiply decimals in the same way that we multiply any 2, 3, and 4-digit numbers together. We stack them from the equation. We multiply column to column from place value to place value. An example of that would be 1 and 7/10, or 1.7, times 2 and 5/10, or 2.5. So we've stacked them right above each other, 1.7, 2.5. Their numbers are all lined up. And we just do it like we would do any other regular multiplication. So we start out with starting in the furthest column to the right. In this case, it happens to be the tenths column, and we'll multiply tenths times tenths, and then tenths times the whole number. So we start with the 5. 5 times 7 is 35. So we put down the 5, and then we bring over our 3. Okay, we're carrying the 3 over. So then we have to go to the next step. We stick with the 5, and we go 5 times 1 is 5, plus 3 is 8. So 5 times 1.7 is 8. We put the 8 and the 5 down. Now, we move down to we move over to the next number. We move over to the 2. In this case, it's in the ones category. And we're going to do the same thing with the 2 that we did with the 5. We're going to multiply the 2 by the 7 and the 1. But first things first, we have to put down a 0. And the reason we put down a 0 is because we're no longer using this number. We're no longer using that place. We're now over 1, so anything we're multiplying is going to come straight down into that column. So I start out with 2 times 7 is 14, so I put down my 4, but then I have to make sure that I carry over my 1, and I used a different color there. The 3 was from before, and now we're using a 1 for this column. So 2 times 7 is 14, put down our 4, carry the 1. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. And now what we do is we add those two numbers together. So 5 times 0 is 5. 4 times 8 is 12. So I put down the 2, and just like we did with addition, I'm going to put the 1. I'm going to carry the 1 over. And then once I've done that, 3 plus 1 is 4. So we have all of our numbers in the spots they're supposed to go. But now, of course, we've been multiplying decimals. So we have to put a decimal into our answer. What you do is you count the number of decimal places in the question, and that's how many decimal places will be in the answer. So starting at the back of this number, we go 1 space and have a decimal. So that has 1 decimal place. We look at this number. Starting at the back of the number, we move forward. Oh, and after 1 space, it has a decimal. So if 1.7 has a 1 decimal place, and 2.5 has 1 decimal place, that gives us 2 in total. So we have to have 2 decimal places in our answer. Starting at the back of 425, if I move 2 decimal places in from the back, so 1, 2. So 1.7 times 2.5 equals 4.25. If I use a calculator, I find that to be correct. Now we're going to try a slightly different equation here. We have a much bigger number, more decimal places. We have a number with 4 decimal places and a number with 2 decimal places. I always find it easier to put the bigger number or the number with the more decimal places on top. I don't know why. It just always, it's less multiplying that you have to do down here. Now we only have to multiply by 2 decimal places instead of by 4 and going all the way down. If you'll notice in multiplication, both in this question, the decimals were lined up because they had the same number of decimal places. In this question, the decimal places aren't lined up because they're not the same size. This one has 4 digits, this one has 2. In multiplication, that doesn't matter. In adding and subtracting, it did, but in multiplication, it doesn't. So we're going to start just the way we did in the first one. We're going to start on the column furthest to the right on the bottom number, which is a 7. 7 times 6 is 42. I'm going to carry over my number, which was 4. 7 times 8 is 56. Plus 4, is 60. So I put my 0 down, and once again, I have to carry over my 6 to the next column. Then I go 7 times 7 is 49, plus 6 is 7 times 7 is 49, plus 6 is 55. So then I have to carry over my 5. Okay. Then I have 7 times 4, which is 28, plus 5 is 33. But because I don't have any other numbers to multiply with, I put down the entire 33. Go to the next column. Same idea as the first time, is because I'm no longer using this decimal place. I am no longer putting numbers in that column. So I have to put a 0 there to fill it in. Then I just go for my math. 2 times 6 is 12. And then I make sure that I carry over the 1. 2 times 8 is 16, plus the 1 is 17. And yet again, I have to carry over my 1. And then 2 times 7 is 14, plus 1 is 15. And then, of course, yet again, I carry over my 1. And then I have 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9. I have my two numbers there, and now I just add them together as I did the first time. 2 plus 0 is 2. 2 plus 0 is 2. 5 plus 7 is 12. And then, of course, I have to carry over my 1. 3 plus 5 is 8, plus 1 is 9, and then 9 plus 3 is 12, and because I don't have any other numbers to add, I just put down my 12. As in the first question, I have to find out how many decimal places I'm going to have in my answer. My first number has 3 decimal places, 1, 2, 3. My second number has 1, 3 plus 1 is 4, so my answer has to have 4 decimal places. From the back, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4.786 times 2.7 is 12.9222. Based on the practices that we've gone through here and the different lessons and the different things that we've done in this video, your practice question is 7/10 times 9 and 45 hundredths. 0.7 times 9.45.